Welcome to part 4, the teacher leader competencies. The teacher leader competencies were designed to frame a vision for teacher leadership. In this graphic, you will not find a distinctive starting point, but instead a selected area where an emerging teacher leader might decide to embark upon a journey and commit to developing into a transformative teacher leader. The pathway is not sequenced nor dependent upon completion of one level after another. If you see these competencies and your development as fluid, then you will develop more fully than if you attempted to simply march forward. As you enter new realms of teacher leadership and join new teams and start new projects or try new things, you might move in either direction or both directions at once through the competencies. There is no such thing as backward in this graphic. There is only learning and action that will take you to new places in your development as a teacher leader. Before we dive deep into the 3 leadership pathways, let's first look at the foundational competencies and the overarching competencies. Outlined in pink, you find the foundational competencies: diversity, equity, and cultural competence. These need to be understood and recognized as integral to being a skilled teacher leader. In today's society, our leaders must be constantly growing in their ability to engage effectively with diverse people and groups who are culturally different from them. Leaders need to seek to understand culture and its impact. Leaders need to understand how the dominant culture can privilege or oppress individuals and groups of people. They must be prepared to take action to expose and address inequity in the educational system, collaborate purposely with individuals and groups from other cultures, and work to create and support policies and practices that give rise to equitable learning environments. Next, you see in yellow the overarching competencies. Although the 3 pathways are intertwined, there does exist a set of overarching skills that all teacher leaders must develop. An example might be communication. Leaders must be able to create, articulate, and differentiate messages that can engage diverse groups of people and advance systemic changes. The additional overarching competencies include reflective practice, personal effectiveness, interpersonal effectiveness, continued learning and education, group processes, adult learning, and technological facility. All 3 leadership pathways are dependent upon the foundational competencies and the overarching competencies that characterize what all teacher leaders should know, do, and believe when leading systemic change. Now we'll look at the 3 leadership competencies. First, we have policy leadership. Smart education policy should be shaped and guided by what accomplished teachers know about teaching and learning. Too often, individuals with little to no classroom experience are in charge of making policy decisions. Teacher leaders are willing to step up and step out of their classroom to serve in school, district, state, or even national policy leadership capacities. Next, we have instructional leadership. Instruction is probably the most basic building block of teacher leadership. Leadership in instructional practice means more, though, than just being the best possible teacher within your 4 walls. It means you reach out and share great teaching with others, including fellow educators, and extend to a broad range of stakeholders, sharing that knowledge with others in order to benefit all students. Finally, association leadership. This means understanding how to create and guide meaningful, positive, and powerful collective action. It means learning to lead members of groups, large, culturally diverse, and engaged, and steering the activities of those members in the direction of desired change. Teacher leaders can build bridges with administrators and other stakeholders in order to advance quality instructional practice with the right policies that make that practice possible. You'll be able to look at this graphic more closely in your reflection journal as you answer these reflection questions. Which pathway do you find yourself in? And what is your next step to continue your growth as a teacher leader? How do the competencies support your growth in your pathway? And how could you use competencies to support other educators?